Welcome viewers. This is Editorial, the ATN News Weekly, where we talk life. We talk issues that shape life and issues that shake life. I'm your host, Richard Moreno, and my guest at this time, Rasheq Rahman, Assistant Secretary, Central Subcommittee of the Bangladesh Awami League. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure having you, and we have to start with militancy today.
The pleasure is mutual.
What do you feel about the current state of affairs?
I think the country is under control and confidence from the part of the general populace is being restored. And as days are going by, I believe whatever terrorist elements are left, they shall be brought to task in front of justice, and they'll be dealt with a very strong hand. And our Honorable Prime Minister, Sheikh Hasina, is adamant, determined, and her conviction is, I believe, the driving force by which Bangladesh will be cleansed of terrorism.
So, what do you think is the politics behind the terrorism?
Well, as you know that I appear in talk shows on a regular basis, and I'm a political activist as well, I strongly believe that this uprise of terrorism in Bangladesh is directly linked with the scheme of saving the war criminals who were there in 1971, and also the scheme covers this aspect where Bangladesh would be turned into an unstable nation, and by which a group of people can claim power, or rather occupy the seats of power, and namely their BNP, the leaders of BNP and Jamaat Islami. To be more precise and specific, it would be Khaleda Zia, Tariq Zia, and the associates of Mir Qasem Ali, Motiur Rahman Nizami, etc., etc. It would go on. So basically two reasons. One is to save the war criminals, another is to somehow take over power. So that's my simple analysis.
So, sir, this kind of mudslinging, you may call it, if I may say so.
It's not mudslinging, it's a fact. Because a lot of newspapers and television channels in Bangladesh, along with them, a lot of foreign entities, they have tried to claim that there is presence of IS in this country. Sure, all over the world, IS has an influence, and they are creating enough havoc, they are creating instability. But for Bangladesh, IS is not at all relevant. The reason being, historically, if you look at the formation of IS, it started from the very fields of Karbala in Baghdad, Iraq. So it's like about, I would presume, about 1300-year-old inception of IS. But during modern times, in the 1900th century, it came along when in 1918 there was a Sykes-Picot agreement in between all the Bedouin tribes of Arabia, so that they fight against the Ottoman Empire during the First World War. Unfortunately, the promises that were made, they were never lived up to.
Sir, that was a very, very disturbing aspect in the current situation
Can
that we
I
are.
just bring an end to that?
Yes.
That's relevant. So what has happened is, IS over time, even during 1960s, then during 1970s, IS was always kept under control by the rulers of Arabia, namely Saddam Hussein, Gaddafi, Hosni Mubarak, Bashar al-Assad. And the concept of IS is that it's the never-ending fight amongst Shia and Sunni Muslims. Now, if you look at the demography of Middle East, then you will see that 63% of the people in Iraq, they are Shia, and the rest 37% is Sunni. Similarly, in Lebanon, in Syria, everywhere you have a significant number of Shia and Sunni people. So there's a conflict going on. But for Bangladesh, out of the entire Muslim population, the Shia community does not even comprise 1%. It's even less than 1%. So IS or ISIS, they have no reason for which they will come here and start a new frontier, because in modern warfare or even in ancient warfare, the people whom you are trying to contain or tame or subjugate, they have to be large in number so that they can finance your warfare.
Sir, looking at the,
The population of Shia Muslims in Bangladesh is so small that even if they launch a warfare, it's not viable.
if they think that this warfare, you talked about the Shias and the Sunnis, but if you think they are thinking about something that smacks of the Crusades.
No, not at all. It has nothing to do with smacks of the crusade. ISIS is based on a Khilafat movement. So it says that we want one Arabia without any boundary, number one. Number two, they say that the Mecca, the Kaaba that is situated in Mecca, that has to be dismantled, that has to be destroyed because it is equal to worshipping an idol. So putting all these things together, Bengali psychology, the religion that we are used to for the last 1,000 years, the Islam that we know of, here ISIS cannot make any space whatsoever. Not only that, I will bring your attention to this. Recently, the State Department of the United States of America has released a report which was published and shown by NBC in USA, which is one of the largest TV channels of America. There they have shown graphically that IS is operating in certain areas, IS has branches in certain areas, but Bangladesh does not have operation, neither any branch. It has been acknowledged by the State Department of United States of America. What has happened is there are a group of people over here who are trying to establish a link from here with IS, not IS with them. Why? The reason is, I come back to your second question, that is, initially when BNP and Jamaat-e-Islami launched their petrol bomb dependent terrorism during the 5th January of 2015, as it failed, they need a new face. They need a new entity by which our government can be destabilized.
So we'll come back right to this place, but we need the commercial.
Sure.
Viewers, we go for the commercial now. Stay with us. Don't go away. Welcome back, viewers. This is Editorial, and my guest, Rasheq Rahman, Assistant Secretary, Central Subcommittee of the Bangladesh Awami League. Welcome back, sir. You are talking about a different phase.
Yeah, as I was saying, that basically BNP, Jamaat-e-Islami and all the war criminals who have been sentenced or they're waiting to be sentenced, they're looking for a new face, a new entity by which they can destabilize this government. Basically, it's a, how would I put it? It's a lamentable parenthesis, it's a situation or a phenomena of the time being. It's nothing permanent. And the government is dealing it with a lot of wisdom and prudence. So all we have to do as the citizens of this country, and sure our allies, our friends, that is, we have to have faith and hold patience. Because this is such a phenomena that is, we are not really used to it. It is something new, this kind of terrorism. So definitely we have to devise certain new intelligent way of approaching it. But I believe when you sincerely and in a committed fashion you say no to terrorism, there are a lot of people and a lot of interest groups who come forward and they give you that idea and that methodology of handling this kind of terrorism. So that phase is going through, and I believe all the economic activity and all these things, it is already normal, it will become even more normal.
So you say terrorism, nothing new, but a very disturbing aspect of the current matters that are going on is the involvement of the younger generation and people who come from rather higher backgrounds. What do you feel?
As I was telling you, that terrorism actually changes faces. It does not only change face, it changes modus operandi also. So in the recent past, terrorism was based on Molotov cocktail bombs made from petrol and all that. Now this terrorism is based on the facade of IS or Islamic fundamentalist thoughts. The problem is the younger generation, those who are getting involved, regarding that, I can give you an overview which also touches the solution as well. The problem is, you see, the private universities of this country, they are governed under the Act of 1994, Private University. Under this act, the governing body of these universities, they do not allow any political participation from the students in the campus. As a result, there is no other option but Hizbut Tahrir or from people from JMB. They are secretly motivating all these young boys and girls so that they turn themselves into terrorism. If we had another option where healthy political practice could have continued, whether boys and girls would have known about our country, our nationhood, our independence war, our father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, and the very endeavor that today we have to become a free, developed, healthy nation, under that circumstance, I believe this wouldn't have happened.
But sir, even in the public
However,
institutions, these incidents are reported.
much lower. Compared to the private, much lower. I'm not saying this is the only solution. I'm saying this is part of the solution. I was getting to that. However, there are so many other reasons also. Like, let's say, as our society is changing, distance between the father and mother and the children, it is ever increasing. That is also a fact. People are becoming alienated. People are becoming more self-centered. So I believe that in a society when there is a presence of, let's say, loveless sub-society, not entire society is not loveless, but a part of it is. So we must fight that. The entire society has to be built on the concept of love, humanitarian values, and our parents, they should take more care of the children, not in the sense of financing them or feeding them, rather taking more care in the sense that they have psychological needs also. You have to give them affection, you have to give them attention, you have to love them, you have to relate to them.
So this is a severe social malady. So what can be the corrections, what can be the rectifications, and what more is the greatest reason that inspires these young people to go to this path?
No, it is a social problem. Unfortunately, there is a group of political people, political and apolitical people, I would say, because terrorists are not political, they are rather apolitical. So there is a group of people who are taking advantage of these boys and girls who suffer from this social disease rather. Now the solution is, number one, unity. We have to recognize that there is a social problem. Number two, we have to recognize that there is a political problem in the sense that it's criminalization of politics. Number three, we have to recognize the problem that corruption has spread so much that today, as a father or a mother, they are also losing their moral ground to discipline their children. Because if a father is making, let's say, 30,000 taka a month, but leading a life of 1 million taka a month, how does he discipline his child? He loses the moral ground. So we have to prioritize, identify, locate, and assess all the reasons, and we have to come up with a comprehensive plan.
In the fight against terrorism, there is call for unity, national unity, from the people who are in power and people out of it. How do they get about doing this thing?
No, national unity has nothing to do with people with out of power and people within the power. Our Honorable Prime Minister has said that people are already united, and I have told you in the middle of this program that the demography of this country is as such that if you come up with a new concept of Islam or any other religion, it shall be rejected, and the point of rejection actually gives you the point of unity. However, these issues are so complex that within a program of 18 minutes, I cannot really elaborate. I can only give you a brief outline. But where I was, let me get back to that point that is more important. As people are united, we have to use and utilize this unity, and this unity needs leadership. We have that leadership. That is Sheikh Hasina. She is our leader. And she is not only working for people who believe in Awami League, she is working for all people of Bangladesh. That's a fact. But how we can help her, that is, we can assess, identify all the problems which are related to this problem. We can let her know, we can give her advice, we can give her a methodology of solving this problem. One thing, we cannot be confused and we cannot be deterred. from the truth. If that can be maintained, I'm sure Bangladesh, once again, it is a peaceful country, once again will prove that the only thing we will embrace is peace, harmony, bonhomie, and tranquility.
Sir, on this note, that's all the time we have on this edition.
No problem.
But you've been very optimistic, and as I've said at the beginning,
We
it's a
should all be
pleasure
optimistic.
talking
Thank
to
you so much. Thank you.
Viewers, we have come to the end of this edition of Editorial, but we will be with you next Sunday. Stay tuned to Editorial, stay tuned to ATN News. From me, Richard Moreno, it's goodbye.